Welcome back to House of Chi Yoga. Today I'm bringing you a pretty beginner-friendly HIIT class. It's only going to be 30 seconds high intensity. I think we have 30 seconds low intensity. It might be 20, but I'm pretty sure it's at 30. I have my nifty little timer here. You can't see it on the film, so I'm just going to cue you for the times, and I'm going to keep it where I can see it to make sure we're hitting those correct times. I do have some blocks with me today, and that's just for a modification. If you don't have blocks, no worries. You can use like water bottles or anything. I'll show you the movement and then you can see if you need a little help doing it. So basic movements today. This is just to kind of get you introduced to a HIIT class. And if you haven't worked out for a while, HIIT can be deceivingly challenging. It can feel like, okay, I'm only working for about 30 seconds. I can push really hard, which is what's also great about HIIT. But after doing 4 consecutive rounds, you can definitely feel it. So we want to just start off with some pretty basic body moves and kind of see how we feel after that, moving into the next day and the next day. If that all feels good, then you can start moving into the more challenging HIIT classes. Okay, so move number 1 is going to be just a basic jumping jacks. You're just going arms up, feet wide. If you're even nervous about jumping, then you can just do a little step right to left, adding the arms as well. So even bringing the arms up and down is going to be cardio. And then obviously if I move faster with my feet, that's going to bring in more cardio as well. Next one is going to be a squat into like a modified lunge. And this is where you can use the block or water bottle or something that can kind of help you elevate your hands, because we're actually bending down and keeping our hands down as we step back into a lunge. So I'm going to place my hands down, step one leg back, come through center. I'm going to stay in my squat, bring my hands up and push up and overhead, and then right to the other side. Step back, feet together, keep my butt low, lift and go. Notice my back leg. You can keep it straight. You can bend it. You can go more narrow over stance for a 90 and a 90 in the knee. So you can play around with that movement. We do not want to put pressure on the low back. So making sure that we're not lifting up with a flat back here, bringing the butt down and then pushing up from the glute muscles and the legs. Okay, so your option if you're going to use those or not. That actually felt really nice using those. When I come all the way down, it's just a lot bigger of a movement, so it can be more challenging. I can risk pushing into my back muscles a lot more. So even for me, elevating with those blocks felt a lot more comfortable and a lot more doable. Whew, I'm already getting my heart rate up. Next is curtsy. Curtsy is 1 foot forward, the other foot goes behind, and I'm just sinking into this front leg glute muscle. To center, you can add a hop, and then to the right, sink it into the glute, center, hop. So it's gonna look like this. Again, if you do not wanna hop here, you can just lift even onto the toes. So pushing through the toes, sinking back into your curtsy squat. Then we're moving into a down dog or a plank climber. Our climber is driving our knee to our chest and feeling this nice crunch from the hips to the ribs. If you're just beginning, you're a little nervous about your arms maybe not being strong enough to last the full rounds, then you can start in downward facing and just do a simple toe tap forward. I'll turn to the side so you can see, toe tap. Now if you want to start moving it towards plank, you can come here, shoulders over wrist, head is in line with the shoulders, gaze is over the fingertips, and then you always have the option to pick up the pace and to move it towards a mountain climber for more cardio, more work there. Then we're going into a child's pose push-up. So we begin in child's pose, toes are together, knees are wide, and I go for wide push-ups. You can mess around with whatever's comfortable for you. The most important thing is thinking about driving the elbows towards the back body. My scaps, which are these chicken wing type bones here, I'm thinking about squeezing the scaps together and then pressing the scaps away from each other. Now I go wide stance because I really want to make sure that I'm not letting this shoulder rotate forward, but I'm opening up. There's plenty of space for the chest to be activated as I go into my push-up. So if you're really narrow, sometimes it promotes that shoulder tilt forward, and we do not want that. Open the chest, activate the pecs, pull the scaps together and apart during your push-up. So I'm in my child's pose stance. I come forward, hit my push-up, and then back. You'll notice I am not going super low in my push-up here. I do have a lot of shoulder work, recovery that I'm constantly doing. I've been one of those people that is always tilted forward, and so I have a lot of damage on my shoulder from that. So I'm really cautious moving into my push-up here. You go to whatever level feels comfortable for you. You'll just notice I go nice and slow. I'm focused on the control and I'm focused on the form. I'm also pushing back to child's pose so that I don't get so many reps of my push-up. If you're comfortable in push-ups and you want to just hold forward in child's pose, hold forward and not in child's pose, you can also just sit and do your 30 seconds of push-ups from there. Okay, last one is for the core. We're going to cross it to seated. Engage the feet, take cross elbow, and the important thing to remember is to keep the shoulders behind the hips. If my shoulders are up in line with the hips, I'm not really getting into my core. So I have to lean back. Now I feel my core working. Squeeze everything nice and tight, and then you're going heel up, heel up, heel up. Now notice my leg is not changing shape. My leg is just holding. I'm driving my thigh to my belly using my core muscles. So I'm crunching, 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 crunching. I do get some work on my hip flexors, which is great. My feet are staying active. The movement is coming from the core. Maybe towards round 3 or 4, I'll add the double leg tap. So most important thing on that one is to make sure you're using the ab muscles to move and you're not shifting into just the legs or just the hip flexors. You're not kicking the legs around anywhere. You're really focused on driving from the abdominal muscles. All right, that was a lot of explaining. The most explaining I think I've done for any of these HIIT classes. Timer is almost ready. Actually, the timer is ready. If you need a quick warm-up video, especially if you're new to HIIT, go on to the class list under HIIT, and there's 2 different warm-up videos you can do. There's one that is just explaining things like I just did, and there's one that is actually just doing some quick warm-up. So definitely hit a warm-up, and if you're too impatient like I am, we have started our timer. Oh, I'm fibbing. I did not. If you're too impatient like I am, then just take it easy on this first round and make sure you're using this first round to do your warm-ups. Okay, my brain is scattered because I figured it out. I haven't used my timer for a while. 5 seconds. Remember, our first one is a straight jumping jacks. So I'll let you know. Let's go now. I'll let you know when the timer is off. You might be able to hear the timer. I'm not sure. Staying light on the feet. Making sure that when you're doing your jacks, you're protecting your joints, you're using the muscles, you're staying strong in the arms, and you're especially staying strong through the core here. We've got 10 seconds left. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit. Remember, you can always step if you don't want both feet coming off the mat. Let's go for 3, 2, and 1. Take a breather. We do have 30 seconds in between, so that's plenty of time to bring the heart rate down. Our HIIT class is to elevate the heart rate and then to breathe and relax, tell the body it's safe. We want everything to come back down on the interval times in between. We have about 10 seconds. Today is Mother's Day that I'm filming, and I just treated myself to a large pastry. So if I'm looking a bit flustered, let's go. Curtsy and then hop as an option. If I'm looking a bit flustered, it's because I'm full of croissant at the moment. I'm not quite ready for a workout. Croissant and coffee. That's all I needed for my Mother's Day. Here, if you're not wanting to jump, remember you can just curtsy right to left, or you can lift up onto your toes. Lifting up onto your toes is actually a really good exercise. So 3, 2, and 1. If you're just springing up to your toes, you're engaging a lot of the legs and driving up into the core. So don't feel like you're cutting yourself much slack there if you're choosing that one. Okay, we're moving on to, oh, I switched it up on us. Look at me and my pastry brain. I forgot the lunges. So I'm gonna do it with the blocks because that just felt overall like I could get into the position safer, faster, and more effectively. We're going to lunge first, and I'm just alternating right to left. Hands down, lunge, step, press up overhead for your squat. Make sure you're alternating legs. You're staying very active all the way through the movement from your lunge to your squat to your overhead. We can get a couple more in. Check in with your back leg, see what's happening. If you feel like you've got some pressure in the low spine, try really bending the back knee, getting rid of the pressure there. Last one. Take a breather. Okay, now we're moving on to our plank or your mountain climbers from downward facing dog. So if you're brand new, let's find downward facing dog. I'm going to start here in downward facing dog anyway, and then I'm going to gradually move towards the end of the circuit towards the mountain climbers and plank. 5 seconds, keep breathing. So from downward facing dog, walk into your core. It's like you're holding a crunch. Let's get moving, toes tapping forward. I'm thinking about driving my knee to my chest or straight forward to the top of the mat. Push the floor away from you with the hands. Make sure you're staying in your downward facing dog form and you're feeling the ab muscles drive the knee. Let's go, we've got 10 seconds left. I'm gonna shift forward into plank. Now, all I did was bring my hips down and push into my toes. Head is in line with the shoulders. Shoulders in line with the wrist. 2 and 1. Take a breather. Next, we're going straight into our child's pose push-ups. So this is kind of a back-to-back arms here with the plank one or the downward facing dog one into this push-up one. So take your push-ups at your own pace. You can hold in child's pose at any time if you need to. We've got about 10 seconds. Remember, in child's pose, the toes are together, the knees are wide, so there's space for your hips to move through. Some people like to let their toes float on this one. I prefer to keep my feet down. So you'll see as I start shifting forward, my feet are pushing into the floor. Now, it kind of just depends on the hip. If your heels have to come up, that's fine. Figure out what's working for you. We don't want to make it uncomfortable in the hips or not able to do this push-up because we're trying to keep the feet down. If you need to float the feet, go ahead and do it. I'm going to try to get 2 more in. Scaps away, scaps toward each other. Focus on the pecs, the chest staying open. Landing in child's pose. We have 1 more. Let's go to seated. Now think about what the most important thing is for this ab work here. Remember, it's shoulders behind the hips. Notice which arm you're going to put on top because the next round we're going to switch it. I don't know if that matters, but it might. We might as well. Less than 10 seconds. 5. Let's go ahead and bring our shoulders behind the hips. Abs locked in, navel to spine. I have my right arm on top. Flexed foot. Start adding heel up, knee up, thigh to belly. If you don't feel your core working, you may need to lean back a little bit farther. Keep going. 15 seconds. I sure hope I'm in the frame. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I may be just slightly out of the frame, but we'll see. We'll check it during break. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, now you have a good minute or so to rest. Actually, scratch that. We're only taking 30 seconds. Let me check my frame real quickly. I think we're okay. I might need to move my mat back a slight smidge. Okay, so getting ready for our next round. 10 seconds. These aren't too aggressive moves, so we can keep moving. If you do need to push pause and take another minute, don't take anything more than a minute. Our first one is going to be jumping jacks. Let's go. If you need to go back to your stepping, go back to your stepping instead of hopping. Stay strong in the shoulders here, strong in the core. You're intentional with your movements. We've got 10 seconds. Hold it all in, ladies. Good reminder. 5, 3, and 1. Take a breath. I'm going to switch back to the original format. I'm going to go back to the lunging. I forgot this one last time. We went straight into our curtsies, but now we're going to do it right. So if you'd like to use the blocks, grab them. Remember, the blocks are going wide enough that our feet can step through. We've got 10 seconds. Heart rate down, deep breaths. You want long exhales. And let's get ready to go. So bend the knees, hands down, step back into your lunge, forward to your squat, press up and overhead. Intentional press from that squat. Feet are pushing down, you're extending all the way up through the hands. When you go back, check in with the back leg. If you feel pressure in the low back, bend the back knee. Gets rid of any crunching in the spine. When you're coming forward, also keep the legs bent until you can get into your squat position. Last one. Take a breather. Now we can go to those curtsies. And remember, you have that cardio hop at center, but you do not have to do the cardio hop. You can push up to the toes and work all the stabilizers in the legs, drive up into the core. Still good work. 10 seconds. I see my pastry coming through today. It was so delicious, I couldn't say no. Not on Mother's Day. Let's go. Here, press, sink it into that front booty muscle. Remember, it's this front leg, front butt cheek. If your knee is driving forward, check in, push the butt back. You want weight going to the glute muscles and not pushing forward into the knee. I'm gonna turn sideways so you can see the difference. So here, my knee is driving forward. See, my back is staying nice and tall, but my knee is pushing. Now this is butt driving back, press up. Butt driving back, press up. Okay, take a breather. So that's a really important cue. I guess I should have gone over before. Butt back, you're basically sitting like you're doing a one butt cheek sit here. That's what I'm looking for. 15 seconds. We're moving on to down dog or plank climbers. Now 5 seconds. I'm gonna head into my downward facing dog. The arms are really important here. Push the floor away from you and lock into your core. I start tapping the toes forward. As you start moving, don't let the weight shift out of the hands. Every fingertip is pushing down, especially the full thumb and that first pointer finger. That is your balance point. That is your point in your palms where you're really centered. I'm gonna start shifting to plank because we have 10 seconds left. And I'm actually gonna keep my feet off the ground. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm not tapping my toe anymore. I'm doing a straight run forward. 3, 2, hold. Now we've got that back-to-back shoulder burn. We're moving into our push-ups. Notice when you're doing your push-ups forward, what your fingertips are doing. Same thing here, our hands are very important. Stabilize, push the fingertips down. Also, no turning in. If anything, turn slightly out. See how that just immediately opened up my chest. So about 10 seconds, get into your child's pose form. I'm gonna check in, index fingers are forward or maybe even a little bit wider. And my hands right now are wider than my mat. So I'm coming forward, being conscious through my whole push-up. If my feet need to pop up, that's fine. What I'm not gonna do is pop my feet up and release my ab muscles. The abs are also staying really strong and tucked in to help me support all the way through my push-up. Man, push-ups are so hard for me. I got less than 10. I'm gonna try for 2 more. Scabs together, scabs away. 1. Guess I could get 1 more baby push-up in. 1 more mini baby push-up. Okay, now we're going to our abs. So, same thing here. Active feet, knees are staying bent. I'm trying to hold that 90 degree. I'm leaning back. A little trick is if you feel your tailbone, you can lift your butt cheeks up, and then as you push back, your butt pushes against your tailbone. That'll kind of cushion your tailbone for you. You can also put like a little pillow or something there if it's really bothering you. Left arm on top, lean it back, abs in. Let's go single heel up, knee up, thigh to belly. Probably thigh to belly is the most important thing to focus on here. You're keeping the abs in and then just think about pulling your thighs straight up to your chest. About 15, I'm gonna lean back a tiny bit farther. 10 seconds. 5. I'm gonna pick up the pace. 2 and 1. Hi, we're only getting 30 seconds. If you need to pause, go ahead and pause the video. Go do something. I'd prefer you not to drink water in between these rounds. We want to get a nice consistent burn. We don't want to cool things down. We have 15 seconds until our jumping jacks. Also, if you're gonna pause, don't pause and go do laundry or something. Just take maybe a minute, no more than a minute, and then come back. We don't want to go to full recovery and then have to start again. 3, 2, 1. This is round 3. Let's go. We do have 4 rounds total, which means on round 3, we're trying to pick up the pace a little bit because we only have 1 more after this. So that may mean you move a little bit faster. That may mean you go to the next level of an exercise. Like if you haven't tried jumping, maybe you try adding some jumps for this jumping jack instead of stepping. May mean that you squeeze everything extra hard, make it work a little bit more. And hold. Back to our lunges. I'm gonna just keep using these blocks because honestly, I'm able to do them without the blocks, but using the blocks just allows so much more mobility in the hips and the chest. that I feel like I'm actually doing the movement better and I'm getting a deeper lunge just by using these blocks. Let's keep up with them. 10 seconds. I'm at the top of my mat. 3, 2, let's get started. Hands down, stepping back, hard up for your lunge if you want a little extra work. So notice when I step back this time, I brought my chest up. That's gonna continue a stretch through the front of my leg into my hip flexors. So that is totally optional. We are in round 3 now, so I wanna make it a little bit more challenging, a little bit more dynamic. So if you feel like, yeah, that stretch feels great, you can safely lift all the way up back into your lunge. Then excellent, add it on. We have one more.
3, 2, 1.
Last squat. That felt great. Okay, now on to curtsies. So think about the last cue I gave you on that round 2. Sitting back into your palm. If you need to, you literally take your hand to your butt cheek and just sit into your palm. It's very important not to push forward into the knee, but to sit back into our glute muscles. So that's what we're trying to build here. Bigger, better booties. That'd be a great t-shirt. 2, 1. Sit into the palm, through center, add your hop. Sit into the palm, through center, add your hop. I'm gonna pick up the pace a little bit. Since it's round 3, let me get the heart rate a little higher. Remember to breathe. No holding your breath on these. Never holding our breath. Not while we're exercising. Keep breathing. We're bringing life into the body. One more. Hi, that felt good. Okay, now we're moving on to the climbers, and I'm gonna do the full 30 seconds in a plank climber this time. So important when you're in plank to make sure you have this nice line with the arm, in line wrist, elbow, shoulder, and you're not pushing here, arm farther than the shoulder girdle. So I see that a lot in class. The trick is to just push forward into the toe. So if I'm here, I just need to push forward. Now my heel's over my toe. I can safely drive, and my whole arm is supporting my upper body. I'm making sure the back is nice and flat. I'm pushing the upper back towards the ceiling. Every fingertip is working. I'm gonna pick up the pace. Woo! Just holding a plank makes it so much harder. We've got less than 10 seconds. Try to drive forward. Fingertips are important. Breath is important. And pause. Oy, that is gonna make push-ups harder for this round. I hope you held plank with me. I'm going hands wide again. You also have the option to go into a tricep push-up here with your arms a little bit closer. Just remember, we're not rounding forward here. You're rolling back, making lots of space across the chest. We got 10 seconds. Calming the nervous system. Let's move into our push-ups. Knees wide, toes down, or let them float. The core is staying active and strong the whole time. So if the belly is falling to the mat, you want to lift up, navel to spine. Make sure the abs stay in place as you're doing the push-up. You're coming down in one strong unit, coming down as a board of plank. That didn't make any sense. As a plank of wood. That is actually what I meant to say. 1. Done with those ones. Now we just have our crunches. Let's go. Okay, since it's round 3, I'm gonna add a double knee crunch. So instead of alternating right to left, I'm gonna try to go both knees at the same time. We've got about 10 seconds to breathe. Exhaling out of the mouth. You can hear that I always do this ha sound. It's a very stress relieving sound. Very life-giving. Let's go, lift up the butt cheeks. Tailbone's protected, right arm on top, double heels up. Now, try not to go straight into my hip flexors. I'm actually gonna close my eyes and just focus on the core. My core is doing the work. The ribs are pulling down to the hip bones. My abdominals are functioning. Squeeze your navel to your spine. Keep breathing, but also squeezing extra hard. We have 3, 2, and 1. Try to hold and release. Okay, 30 seconds, and we only have one more round. This is the final round. I hope you're sweating. I hope your heart rate came up. We are breathing through this last round and pushing ourselves hard. You get a full finished completion workout after this last couple minutes. 10 seconds. Okay, if you have not tried regular jumping jacks yet, let's try them. Let's do this. Let's go. Arms and legs both working together. Also working coordination. We got to keep up with these simple movements as we age so we never lose basic coordination skills. You never know when you're young how important jumping jacks is until you try to do them when you're a lot older and realize you haven't been practicing jumping jacks for the last 30 years. It's an important movement. 5 seconds, pick up the pace. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. We're never going to forget how to do our push-ups. Excuse me, jumping jacks or push-ups. Okay, we're getting ready for our squat to lunge. Heart rate down. Maybe some haws. We've got 10 seconds. Feel the connection of the feet to the floor. I'm going to challenge myself and already go into a squat and hold for 5 seconds. Feel the hips, feel the feet connecting, feel the thighs. Feel the booty. Let's go. Lunge, squat, press up and overhead. If you want to add that more dynamic lunge heart up, it's going to give you a bigger range of motion. It does absolutely depend on the mobility of your hips, how much you stretch. So if you're not there yet, don't force anything. This is not the time to be forcing a stretch. Okay, we're just going where our body can go and bringing the heart rate up. Last one. Let's squat it out. Hiya! Moving on to our last curtsy. Full booty this time. Make your glutes work. This has been surprisingly difficult for me. I'm going to blame it on the croissant, the lemon croissant I had. 5 seconds. Let's get ready. Again, challenge myself. I'm going to hold squat for 5. Tuck my croissant into my pants. And let's go. Sit into the butt cheek. Hop it up. Sit into the butt cheek. Landing light on the toes and balls of feet. So I don't want to land flat-footed, of course. We're engaging, toes open wide, opening up through the ball of the foot to catch the weight first. Maybe move faster. Maybe sink deeper into your squat. Got less than 10 seconds, but might as well push it. 3, 2, and 1. Hi. Okay, moving on to our last plank climber. Notice I said plank because I want everyone down here in plank with me this time. Shoulders, elbow, wrist, one line, fingertips facing forward. If it feels like you have any crunching in the back here as you move, you may need to bring your hips up a little bit higher just so you're not putting pressure there in the back. We've got 5 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and find plank. Push the upper back towards the ceiling. Push forward into the toes. And I'm going straight to a mountain climber, so no toe taps. I'm keeping the feet off the floor as I run myself forward. Hi, pick up the pace. We've already got about 15 seconds left. Checking in, are you using your core? Are you keeping the feet active, the toes active? Do you feel your thighs burning like I do? 5, pick up the pace. 3, 2, and 1. Oh, last shoulder. Straight push-up. If you really want to challenge yourself, you can do a good old regular old-fashioned push-up. I don't go there with my shoulder, but if you'd like to, I don't know, have fun with it. Good for you. I wish I could do regular push-ups still. I'm not quite there yet, but one day, keep modifying until I get back there. 5 seconds. And let's shift forward. Check in. Abs are strong. Index fingers are forward. Maybe the feet float, but the abs do not break open. Use your breath, especially on that push back up and away from the mat. Scaps together, scaps away. Use the belly muscles. Use the back muscles. You have 10 seconds. I'm going to try to pick up the pace a little bit. 3, 2, last one. Excellent job. We only have one more 30-second round, and we are done. I'm sweating. Okay, lift up the glutes, protect the tailbone. We have 15 seconds. I'm gonna really challenge myself and just try to hold this. Now I'm planting my feet. I'm working the energy down. I'm working the energy down through the hips. I'm squeezing my core tight. Instead of crossing my arms for this time, we have 5 seconds. I'm gonna take my arms up and overhead. So now flex the foot and double heel kick. If this is too much, go back to the left arm on top of the right and do your crunches there. Extra challenge is just lifting up. You are less than 20 seconds. Let's pick up the pace. Forgot this was our last one for a second. If you don't feel your core working, close your eyes, go back into your ab muscles. Keep the shoulders behind the hip line. I almost fell over with my eyes closed. 3, 2, try to hold at your 90. Squeeze your thigh to belly. And release it down to a Baddha Konasana. Butterfly pose. Use the elbows to massage out the inner thighs here. That felt great. Hit is always hard. That was a great example of, you can even do the most basic movements. You could literally do just jumping jacks or just squats, but that high intensity interval training, 30 to 40 seconds hard, stopping for a few seconds, gets the heart rate up, gets the body moving, does so many wonderful good things for our body. So keep up with these exercises. This was just step 1 to moving into a healthier, more athletic, more mobility, functioning, fun life. So keep up with these HIIT classes. And yeah, feel free to message me if you have any questions. If you're new, I love sharing information about HIIT, but I also don't want to overload you. So always feel free to reach out and ask me any questions you have. Okay, see you next time on Hasachi Yoga.